So I'm usually pretty late on things like this, but I finally saw the My Hero Heroes Rising movie, and you know what? It was it was worth it, I think. The movie came out, I believe, in Japan a little bit, and everyone basically figured out a way to get a hold of it for me. So, well, I'm just gonna talk about it. Pretty much, I gotta get some things off my chest. So there's a few things that I want to talk about here first, and that's the overall plot of the movie. I'm gonna just label this entire video with just emphasis on major spoilers because, of course, we're gonna be seeing spoilers throughout this entire review, and I want to give my thoughts on a lot of things about the movie, and in order to do that, I'm going to need to talk about the spoilers. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't know what you're doing because you're living under a fucking rock at this point. Either way, we're gonna jump right in here, alright? So, first thing I want to say is that I was originally going to see this movie in March, April-ish when it came out. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, me and my friend who were going to go see it together, we mutually agreed that it was best probably not to see it in a crowded movie theater. This was the anime debut of Hawks. Hawks wasn't in the movie as much as I'd like, but it's nothing too groundbreaking. They didn't ruin Hawks by not putting him in the movie as much. But I'm gonna kind of be jumping. I'm gonna be jumping around a lot because I just finished the movie. I'm really fucking ecstatic. And there's gonna be a lot of things I jump around. I'm gonna be like a squirrel or a dog that is chasing after a mail truck, and then he sees another mail truck and he starts chasing after that one. So forgive me here if this doesn't make any sense, because making no sense is kind of like my reputation at this point. Anyway, the beginning scene is really reminiscent of a comic book movie. Obviously, My Hero takes a lot of inspiration from Western comics. So, of course, starting off with an action chase scene is really freaking dope. To a point where we get to see characters like Rocklock come back. The League of Villains aren't really quite prevalent in this movie, and that's kind of why this scene exists, I believe. You get a little bit of action from them. As we get to see Spinner, we get to see Compress and Dobby transporting a truck with 9 in it. Endeavor pulls an Endeavor and literally fucking inflames the goddamn car. I'm surprised 9 survived, but you do get to see a little bit of Dobby. Dobby, whoever voice acts Dobby, is actually a fucking genius, bro. Like, I heard his voice lines in this movie, and Dobby is so fucking cool with the voice lines that he gives, bro. Like, I don't know what to say at this point, bro. It's just so goddamn good. Whoever voice acts Dobby. So that scene kind of goes away, right? They reveal that the League of Villains are twice clones because the League of Villains are smart and they don't bring their actual people to the transport truck. 9 escapes. He comes back with his team. Blah, blah, blah. Movie starts. Them being on the island, I think, was set up quite well. They show you why and how they're on the island in flashbacks and stuff, which is fine by me. The island, I think, as a whole is a really nice setting for a movie like this. It provides a nice little, way for you to, it creates, a nice little location for the movie that's not too big, not too small. It's a nice populated area, decently dense. However, with the right circumstances put in place, can be cut off from the world. Wink, wink, foreshadowing, which is how the movie progresses. So the beginning of the movie is kind of just meh, right? You see the heroes doing all their stuff. It's very clear early on that these 2 kids are going to be a major focal point of the movie, and what do you know they are? The little boy is a very similar reflection to Deku in a way. He has a very interesting quirk, whereas the sister is a lot like Bakugo. And the fact that she is a bit more, what's the word? She's a bit more rambunctious. I don't know. She has a bit more fire in her personality compared to the boy, who's a bit more timid and shy. Obviously, they're a pretty good dynamic together. Her quirk is she can create illusions. I think one of the best not mechanics, probably this movie is carried by the dynamic of Deku and Bakugo. I think Bakugo and Deku having to work together to defeat Nine is what single-handedly carries the dynamic of this movie. I love their dynamic of Deku being the kind, understanding hero, with Bakugo being the fiery, much more powerful, I don't know, like the brawn, right? Because constantly throughout the movie, we see Deku like trying to think of a way to defeat Nine, whereas Bakugo just kind of rushes in and is able to make good moves and good reads kind of just on his own. I don't know how to say it, right? But his skills overall are better than Deku at this point, I think. That's just an opinion. That could be not true. I don't know. But them kind of fighting as well as working together is a great dynamic for this movie, and it's definitely why they were the focal point, I believe. I want to shift over here to talk about some of the characters specifically, because talking about the movie's plot isn't exactly what I want to do. I don't want to make this too long, so I'll kind of give my whole... Hawks was in the movie. Hawks has been one of my surprisingly well-liked characters. Something about Hawks I just really enjoy, and him being in this movie is cool. He's not in it as much as I would like I said, but he's kind of just the hero that figures out what's going on and sends backup just in time to save the heroes once Bakugo and Deku defeated Nine. So that's fine. Endeavor's in this movie enough. Those are kind of all the side hero characters. Aizawa's not in this movie too much, but he doesn't need to be. All Might is in this movie about as enough as he needs to be. We get a cameo from Rocklock, right? We get a cameo from Ryuku. We don't get any cameo from Night Eye's agency, but not that we need one. Nor do we get a cameo from Gran Torino. But either way, let's shift to the main event, right? So I'm going to talk about Nine first. So Nine is Crew. What do I think about him, right? He's an anime villain, for sure. He isn't exactly a deep character, I'd say. He's not a bad character, but he's your typical anime villain, where he just believes that he wants to reshape the world in his image, one where the strong rule and the weak are exterminated, right? Pretty original here. And he brings together a group of people. I really do like the backstory, though, of the Doctor basically like making him into a beta Nomu. Totally not foreshadowing, by the way. For those of you who watch my channel, you know it's kind of an interesting reflection on Nine is what Shigaraki will ultimately be above in time. Shiggy isn't above Nine in this movie, at least power-wise. And I'm not going to spoil the manga. I'll spoil the movie, but not the manga. He's definitely going hard in the manga. But either way, Nine, his motivation is strong enough to be a decent villain, as well as his ability to control 9 quirks at once. Now, I think this, I don't know if it's a disease or a condition that he has. I don't know if it was ever explained. Forgive me if I didn't pay attention. But the one that, like, slowly kills him in his body, like, slowly decays his cells or something, I think that was a good enough motivation. And then, so when he steals the quirk of his dad, of the 2 kids' dad, and then he goes to the island to find the kid and steal his quirk, I think that as a whole is a good enough motivation to carry the conflict of the movie, because he's looking to steal the quirk of a young kid, and if he does steal it, he's kind of like a god at that point. Who knows who will be able to defeat him? So that dynamic is good enough to carry the movie between the villains and the heroes. 9 as a character is good enough. His design is decent. 9's quirks, however, I think were made considerably interestingly. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I know, but basically all I'm trying to say is I really do enjoy the way they made his quirks, right? I can't name all 9 of his quirks, but the one quirk he has where you can see the power spike in people is cool. Obviously, the main quirks he uses, where he has his barriers, which of course a villain's got to have, I think. He has his gusts of wind he can shoot from his barriers, and then probably my favorite quirk he has is the little lightning bolts he shoots from his fingers. That's pretty sick. He can summon he can Yu-Gi-Oh summon Blue Eyes White Dragon, or the fuck its name. He can Yu-Gi-Oh summon a dragon from his back, which is so weird. That quirk came out of fucking nowhere. And then he can control the weather, which is probably his best quirk with the lightning. When he shocked Bakugo and Deku with the lightning. Overall, and the fact that he needs the regeneration quirk in order to, or the cell reactivation, or what you call it, quirk, I think is good enough. Nine's crew, they are good enough. They fit the henchman position in the movie decently well. Actually, I feel like they do it above average in anime only, right? Because I'm gonna compare this movie probably to the last big time anime release that I saw, and that was the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And I think the Broly movie was great, but in my opinion, I enjoyed this movie better as an experience. The Broly movie was very good visually, something I think was better than the Heroes Rising movie. But the thing that I believe My Heroes movie did better was like they had a bit more of like a deep plot, right? Because the thing that I tend to not enjoy about anime movies the most is the fact that like there's a little bit of like story in the beginning, and then towards the middle you get to a fight, and the last 30 to 45 minutes of the movie is the final battle. That's how Dragon Ball Super Broly worked, right? You know, Broly got discovered, blah blah blah, Frieza and Broly made it to Earth, and the rest of the movie is the fight against Broly. The cool thing I like about this movie, however, though, was the fact that this movie felt like a very long Power Rangers episode. And I'm saying that very, very loosely here, only because of the similarity where, I mean, it's kind of just a story thing in general, right? Where the villain shows up, they fight for the first time, and then Nine beats the shit out of Deku and Bakugo. He knocks him out with lightning, but however, he is forced to retreat because he used his quirk too much and his body is failing him. And then we wait a little bit while the heroes convolute a plan, and Nine comes back, and from then on out, we have the final battle. So I do like how they try to keep, it's not just, one big fight to save it all. It's they have a fight before where the heroes are beaten, and now they have a bit more information to adjust and come back better the next time. Of course, the final fight in its own right is an absolutely incredible finale. Probably the best finale I've ever seen in an anime movie, but you're talking to a guy who's only watches My Hero, Dragon Ball, and Demon Slayer movies, and Demon Slayer doesn't even have their movie yet. So I haven't seen a lot of anime movies. I'm just comparing it to a lot of Dragon Ball movies, is what I'm saying. Either way, though, Nine's henchmen function, I think, above average for henchmen, right? The Medusa chick is cool. Her quirk is interesting. I really did enjoy her battle with Mina and Tokoyami. Tokoyami, I think, had a cool moment in this movie, and I'll cover that when I get to the heroes. She functioned properly. The big wolf guy was so weird, bro. Like, he's out here smoking cigs in a trench coat, and then all of a sudden he like summons porcupine thorns from his arms, and then he transforms into a fucking giga wolf. And it's like, wow, what the hell is going on? My favorite henchman was like the puppet dude. He was freaking sick, where he would like wrap bandages around stuff, and they would then become sentient and bend to his will. That was really fucking cool. He looked like a ninja. He looked a bit like I don't know, Shoji, I think his name is, the guy with the arms. I think he was an interesting, cool concept character. He did, however, get captured in the first time, or the first encounter with the villains, and then from then on out, he kind of left the movie for a bit. But overall, I think the antagonists of this movie served their purpose well in the scale of the story. But I think where this movie really shines, obviously, is that this movie spends a big chunk of its time focusing on the UA students, and obviously that's a great concept to do. I think it's a good moneymaker. It's a very good decision to make. The thing I liked about this movie a lot, probably my favorite, is that each student feels like they get their own good moment in the movie. Not to mention this movie has above budget and above average budget in animation style and everything. This movie looks like a movie. And I mean this in the way of it's very clear that Deku and Bakugo are the main focus of the movie from the beginning, right? They're going to be the ones who defeat Nine. But what I really enjoy was the fact that when the villains first attacked, you had different teams who came in, right? You had Todoroki and his team fighting the wolf guy. You had Bakugo, Kaminari, and Kirishima fighting the bandages guy. Deku fighting Nine, and then a bunch of other teams going after the people. And then when you have the second fight, which is a brilliant finale, you have all the teams that kind of make the plan orchestrate together, right? For example, you have Shoji and Jiro and the tail guy protecting the kids. Then you had the laser guy and Momo splitting the group of villains from 3 into 1v1 or into solo 1, 2, 3. From then on, you had different students. For example, Tokoyami and Mina shined in luring Medusa down to the dark cavern below, where Dark Shadow could then take on Medusa with fucking Wolverine claws. And that was a freaking sick moment, bro. Mina had her cool acid moment. She did get spikes in her leg, though, and that instantly knocked her out. So, I mean, I'll give her credit. I was probably painful as fuck. You had the wolf guy come in. In my personal opinion, Todoroki had a great moment. I feel like some people might not be satisfied with how much Todoroki was focused on, because he's pretty much the third most popular student, right? He's probably part of the big three of Class 1A. But I think he got a really good moment when Ida, the frog chick, Kirishima, and Todoroki fight the Giga Wolf guy. I think he'd have a really cool moment where, frog chick, hits him with a toxin or whatever, ends up using her tongue to bring down his arm. Ida kicks his tail away. Kirishima uses Unbreakable in such an epic scene where he blocks the laser, and then Todoroki comes in and gives the most insane ice cream brain freeze I've ever seen, man. And he just freezes the wolf dude. I expect the wolf guy to just shatter to pieces, but he doesn't. That team had a really good moment. Another few great moments are when Laser Guy, Momo, the Tape Guy, Mineta, and Ochako were all single-handedly trying to hold back Nine and get him to use all of his quirks. Like Sero and the Tape and Mineta with all the balls and all the rocks, Ochako with the rocks and stuff. Just all that teamwork with Momo to get Nine to just start using his barriers, I think was a really good way to give the students their own set of screen time and teamwork and kind of show how well they've gone, where inevitably Nine gets through them, but then that leads to Deku and Bakugo having to go out and take Nine on themselves. And even though their plan works, Nine kind of fights through his disease a bit, uses some weird shit on his back, and then that leads to Shoji, Jiro, and the tail guy to kind of have their own moment holding back Nine when you think Deku and Bakugo are down and out for the count. Shoji, I think, really shines because he takes a bunch of lightning bolts for the kids. He puts his life on the line, his body, for these kids, and I think that's pretty sick. Shoji's, I feel like, is definitely one of the characters that needs to be focused on more. He has little to nothing I know about him. Obviously, development for him is great going forward. So now let's transition to the final fight here. Don't want to make this too long. The final fight, of course, is absolutely gorgeous. Beginning when Nine makes this fucking gigantic-ass tornado, fucks Bakugo and Deku to high heaven, and then they have to perform the exchange of One for All, and all of a sudden Super Saiyan has been engaged. And from then on out, Might U starts playing. What more can I say? Probably the most gorgeous fight in My Hero I've seen thus far. Probably not the best fight I've ever seen in anime, but it definitely might hold up upon repeat viewings. I'm just recording this off of one intensely high energy viewing. So yeah. Overall, that fight was just, it did its job, right? It made you rock hard. It made you fucking jump out of your seat with all these fucking visuals and the fucking fireworks. I should have watched this shit on July 4th, bro. I should have just it was just so like high octane tempo, especially when Deku just gives him the fucking, I believe it was a punch or a kick. Was it the double Detroit smash to blow the fucking weather out, and Bakugo like touched a rock and like instantly disintegrated it or some shit. It was insane. They both broke their arms and everything, and it just boom boom pow. Final finale, is over, right? But was that my favorite part of the movie? Maybe, probably, yeah. But we're not done talking to him yet. The ending was pretty good. I think the fact that Bakugo passed out before the transfer was complete is a dumb way to explain how Deku gets to keep One for All. I know they're not trying to spoil anything from the manga in this movie, which is why I think Deku didn't use Black Whip. However, the fact that One for All is sentient and could have just given itself back to Deku, they should have explained that. Bakugo doesn't remember the transfer. He doesn't remember a lot of stuff, which is dumb. I think that's dumb, but fine. Screw it. The relationship with the kids, I think, was really well. Bakugo and Deku and the kids. And then, of course, probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is the fact that the League of Villains weren't very present in this movie, but they were present enough to where Shigaraki knew what was going on. This movie revealed the Doctor for the first time in anime, at least doing evil deeds, Doctor. And the Doctor is a major character coming up in My Hero, know that for now. And the fact that, one, there are two good Shiggy moments in this movie, and if you don't know, Shigaraki's my favorite character. One, we get Red Coat Shiggy in this movie, which is cool. Two, there's a moment where Hawks is investigating the place where the dad had his quirk stolen, and it shows Shigaraki like standing on a cliff just watching him. I would like to say, Hawks, right? Hawks, the number 2 hero Hawks, is just getting watched by Shigaraki, and maybe I need to go back and relook at this frame, but it looks like Shigaraki is literally less than 10 feet away from this dude. He could be like 20 feet away, and Hawks never turns around and sees him, bro. Like, are you telling me Shigaraki's got 99 stealth, dude? There is no way. He's standing like in an open street in broad daylight observing a crime scene with his red trench coat and his hand over his face. Are you telling me the cops don't know what this mofo looks like, dude? I don't know. That part was super weird to me. The second part, which is very close contending my favorite movie, a very close contender for my favorite movie moment, is when it pans over to like a separate island or something that is blooming a bunch of flowers. This is the aftermath where Nine is still alive, barely still alive. The disease has decayed him pretty much almost all the way. He got his ass fucked sideways by the Deku and Bakugo 2 for All combo, and he's literally just crawling on the floor trying to do anything. And then Shigaraki steps out of this weird like slop portal that I assume one of the Nomus did for him. I don't know how he got there. I don't remember. I don't really care. So Shiggy comes out of the portal, and he's like, you're still alive. And then Nine is just babbling about, I'm going to make my own world. He's like, all it takes is one leader. And then Shigaraki is wearing these really cool, like half and half gloves. So 2 of his fingers are like non-gloved, and then his 2 of his other fingers are gloved. He takes off his glove, and of course he puts his hand on Nine's face, and he says, "You're right. It only takes one." Then Nine realizes what's happening, and he gets decayed away and dies. And then Shigaraki just walks away. He says, "Good work." As it just doesn't even show Shiggy. It just shows the whole, the I don't know how to say it, but like the crater of flowers. The weight of Nine crawling on the flowers. It shows the outline of his body. And he's dead. Nine is dead. So Deku and Bakugo didn't kill him. They didn't really elaborate on whether or not the police tried to look for Nine, because they caught the rest of the group. Did they just not find Nine on like a nearby island? Like, he didn't even look like he was 100 miles away. Like, I feel like they would look for him. I don't know. But the fact that Shigaraki could just do that pretty damn alpha. Probably close to my favorite moment in the movie. The final fight is just too damn good to pass up as the favorite moment. But overall, this movie was super fucking good. Well worth the wait. I'd say I probably would have risked COVID-19 to watch this movie. Yeah, I'd probably do that. Overall, this movie is so fucking good, and I hope all of you get a chance to see it at least one day, man.